Hello, and thank you for joining the Champion Within podcast, your premier go-to spot for unlocking your winning mindset. Whether you're an athlete looking to elevate your game to the next level, a coach leading the charge, an enthusiastic parent cheering from the sidelines, or an educator molding young minds, the Champion Within podcast episodes are packed with value, sharing the tools and strategies to unlock your potential and rise to new heights. Hosted by mentor, coach, and mindset leader Kate McCauley. Let's sit back and enjoy today's episode while discovering your champion within. And now, here's Kate.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on the Champion Within today. I am really excited to bring you a group of athletes that I've had the opportunity to love, and they're two coaches. I got to meet these girls, I guess it was spring of last year when I went in and did a workshop with them. Their coach happened to see something that was posted online. She called me, we talked. Immediately, I knew that I wanted to work with this team because their coach, Angela, said she wanted them to be better humans when they leave her program. And I got to admit, I thought this woman seems pretty cool, but I'm always, leery of how great is she? Is she just saying these things? And over the past couple months, I have seen what her and her assistant coach, Maddy, do. And they bring all kinds of people in to work with the cheerleaders. They do things in the community that really, many times I have said, you are the unicorns of coaches. And I'm not even sure if she fully believes me when I send her these text messages. And I'm just going to be honest. I work with a lot of people at the youth level, high school, collegiate. I was just with professional athletes today. Nothing against any of those people, but they're not all like Coach Maddy and Coach Ange. There's something special there. Same with this group of girls. I didn't know this team last year, so I can't really speak to the epic growth that I'm hearing has happened. But from seeing them in the spring and then going to their homecoming games and just seeing how they act as women, it's impressive. I wanted to bring them on. The captains are here today. We're going to talk about mindset as a high schooler and going to college and where they're headed next and the journey as an athlete in general. I'm interested to hear what they have to say. It's going to be an honest conversation. And I think that my athletes, my parents, other coaches who listen, you're all going to learn. So ladies, thank you for being here. I really do love working with you. We're going to start with Coach Ange. If you want to maybe just tell us a little bit about how you got to be the coach at Sun Valley High School.
I started in COVID 4 years ago. The program didn't have a coach in May, and the season starts in May for us. I applied, had a couple interviews actually. And once I got hired, I kind of took the program on by myself. These girls in front of us were freshmen, so it's been a journey, and it didn't happen to get a assistant coach until August. Matt, I think you came in the end of July. It was a long summer for us. I think that kind of set the bar to see where we could take our program. We've been able to grow from that point. So,
okay. And prior to Sun Valley, were you a cheerleading coach somewhere else? Were you coaching cheerleading?
I cheered in high school, and then I coached some rec. Prior to coaching at Sun Valley, I spent about 6 years coaching gymnastics and cheer tumbling before I got my job here at Sun Valley.
Gotcha. Maddy, how did you?
Well, I am actually an alumni of Sun Valley High School. I cheered all 4 years here, and my senior year I was a captain. When the position opened up, I was kind of like going back and forth on whether or not if I should apply to it until Ange was texting me saying, you need to be my assistant coach, apply. I had an interview with her and our athletic director, and 2 seconds later they called me and they brought me back into the school and they were like, welcome to the coaching staff.
I'm curious, why were you going back and forth?
I just didn't know if I should do it or if I was ready to do it.
Was there a mindset shift, or Ange basically said, you're coming in, woman?
I wanted to give back to my school just because of all the hard work that I put into the team when I was here. And I just wanted to see where Ange and I could take it. And we took it far.
You did. It's actually impressive to watch. I really, truly mean when I say that you two are making a mark. It's pretty cool. All right. So go ahead, Ange, jump in.
Sorry. Prior to Maddy coming to coach here, actually, I coached Maddy in tumbling
I did not know that.
at the gymnastics center. And then Maddy was one of my coaches alongside of me at the gymnastics gym her senior year, and I think her freshman year of college. Yeah, it's been a journey with us. So we have had
Okay, I
some.
think I may have known that you worked together, but I didn't know you actually coached her.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm thinking back, we had a red carpet night after we did some mindset workshops. I brought a photographer, and the girls really leaned into owning their confidence. And the captains were put on the spot really that night. I pulled them in. I want to say that might have been the night you ladies found out you were captains. I could be wrong. Am I right with that? Okay. So you can talk. I want you to talk about becoming a captain when you introduce yourself. And just so everyone knows, we literally, me, the coaches, we talk about these things together. I don't just create this on my own. I talk with the coaches and say, what does your team need? What do you want them to walk away with? And we put a red carpet out on their field. And we had already talked about confidence and wearing that invisible crown. So we put real crowns on their heads. And these ladies were asked to lead all of the cheerleaders, the freshmen, JV squad, everybody who showed up for this red carpet event, and be the leaders. And we'll talk a little bit about a mantra that they leaned into. But ladies, introduce yourself. And we're just going to start with Madison at the top because that's what my screen looks like here. Tell me who you are, what cheerleading has been like for you, and what it was like to become captain of the team. You're up, Madison.
Hi, I'm Madison. I'm a senior and captain this year. I would say becoming captain was probably one of the best things to happen, but also the most terrifying, just because freshman year and going all through, oh, you don't know if you want to be a captain. I remember freshman year, I was the ones looking up to the captains, and then I got elected to become a captain, and I was like, now they're looking up to me and coming to me for things, and I just never thought that would be me, that could happen too.
Why did you think that could never be you?
I don't know. I just never thought that I could be good enough to become and be elected to become a captain.
Woman, right now I want you to say, I am good enough.
I am good enough.
You really are, because I have only known you for a short period of time. When we had a red carpet event with this cheerleading team after we had done some of the workshops together, I challenged Madison to hold a trophy up in the air, and everyone can, jump in and say it right now, but she nailed that and really just set an example for all of the rest of the cheerleaders and I think she was one of the first ones down the red carpet to just own her greatness and being good enough. I can see that you would feel you're not good enough and think maybe I'm not, but I really hope that you do believe that. And if not, keep repeating it to yourself. Okay. We'll just go to the two Madisons, then we'll bounce back around. Madison P., tell us about your journey to cheerleading and what it's like to be a captain for you.
I started cheering when I was younger, but it wasn't anything how it's here. I don't really remember it. I cheered with all of them in middle school, and then in high school it was kind of I don't know. It's been a journey. It's been fun. It's ups and downs. And becoming a captain, I wasn't gonna run for captain, and then they all told me you have to, please do it, and then I did it, and then I became a captain. So that was pretty cool. I didn't really expect it, but it's been fun.
Madison, I have to ask, why would you not run for captain and put your name in for that? Just be honest with us. If you don't mind.
I wasn't expecting to get it. I don't know. I'm not sure actually, but I just wasn't confident enough. But I decided to just do it. So
now that you've been captain for your fall season for football, what have you learned? Are you glad that you put your name in, and what's the best part?
I'm glad I did it. It just made me realize that the team, they actually do look up to you. When you're a captain, they actually do ask you things, even if you wouldn't think twice about it. They're gonna ask somebody else. They do actually ask, and they actually see you as a captain. So that's kind of crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's pretty cool. That's really something that you'll carry for the rest of your life. You don't know that yet, but you will. I just got to say, I didn't know you all 4 years, but I'm actually surprised that you didn't want to put your name in for that, because when I've seen you, especially at the red carpet event, you owned that so confidently.
Yeah,
So
that was fun.
I'm glad you put in your name though, because I think maybe there's some other cheerleaders, and I don't know exactly what's going on in their brain, but maybe they are thinking that, they're not confident enough. I'm glad that you did that. If anyone's listening right now to the podcast, maybe you have a little athlete, cheerleader, or whatever sport she or he plays, and maybe they think they're not good enough. Let them lean in a little and think about all the things that they are good at. And I see every one of your captain teammates here nodding their head. We're glad that she put her name in. Sometimes we don't see the greatness within ourselves. And then once we do lean into that, you see how those other girls looked up to you and came to you when they needed to be supported or ask you a question. I'm glad you were a captain. All right.
Thank
So
you.
do we want to go? You're welcome. All right, Emma.
Hi.
Hi, Emma.
I've been cheering since I was, I think, in kindergarten. So it's been a long time. I've gone through every program here with most of these girls. I knew when I came up to the high school, I definitely wanted to put my name into being a captain. Finding out that I was voted to be a captain was very exciting for me because I knew that a lot of people looked up to me and wanted me to have that role. Being a captain is, I like that I can help other people out and people can always come to me for something.
Okay.
Even if it's just like little things.
So tell me a story about that. Has anyone ever come to you for a little thing?
Yeah.
And don't use anyone's names because we don't want to put anybody out there, all their business. But give me an example of something that somebody might come to you for. And how did you help them?
People might come to me for simple things. What are we wearing to practice and stuff like that. But other people also come to me and tell me about how I've been a role model for them and how they look up to me. And if they need anything, they know that there's someone to help. There's someone that they can contact.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Grace.
Hey. Hi, I'm Grace. I've been a cheerleader since I was in preschool, and I've cheered at Sun Valley for the past 4 years. I honestly always wanted to be a captain. When we were freshmen, I remember voting for our captains, and I was like, I really hope this is me one day. I just always want to be a person that people feel comfortable coming to. I'm glad that I was picked as one of the people that are able to do that on our team.
Cool. I really think that sometimes people think that being a captain, is nice and shiny, and it is. But I do think that it also holds responsibility, that you have to show up as that role model. A couple of you have mentioned that, and people may come to you for some basic things. Like Emma said, what are we supposed to wear this week? And although that may seem basic, everyone does need to be on the same page. We all need to show up and do the right thing. And then there are other times where people are going through some serious things and they need to know that they have, of course, the coaches, but when you can have a peer who understands it, it's just more comfortable sometimes. It's a heavy responsibility too that you hold, and you have to walk a fine line of course, the coach wants us to do a certain thing and I have to be there for my girls. And it is a lot of responsibility and role models. And when I hear you say, some of you, that you were cheerleaders when you were little, and I know you do a legacy night when little girls come up and cheer with you, I'm sure there's a full circle moment there when you see that happen for you. And on the flip side, when we did meet the first time, I'm just going to say it, there was some drama that was happening. Not necessarily everybody going at each other, but I could almost feel there was a little tension between some people, and it got pretty emotional. I do an activity sometimes with teams, for those listeners who weren't with us in the workshop, where we talk about strengths and how we're going to use that as a team and what they can lean into and really build a mantra around it. And this cheerleading team at Sun Valley High School really, really leaned in, and people were crying. They were going all in. And it was a moment where things changed. I could feel it. Parents could feel it. And it was epic, really. And I could feel that there was a lot of emotion that I didn't even know about before I got there. So Related to that, and not necessarily what we talked about in that workshop, but when you're an athlete, there are some things that aren't sunshine and rainbows. There's people in the stands that say things when you're little all the way through high school. So we're just going to quickly go around, coaches included, do not use anyone's names. Share a quick little story about a time when you experienced something like that. And what did you do? If you could give a tip to either another athlete, even a parent listening or a coach, what would you say to them? I'm going to make the coaches start with this one. Let the captains think a little bit there. Again, don't use anyone's names because I don't want people messaging the podcast. Anyway, Coach Maddy, we're going to start with you on this one. Have you ever experienced that as an athlete or as a coach? And tell us a little story about it.
I'd probably experience it more as an athlete rather than a coach. I would just say to especially the parents that it sticks. It sticks with you for your entire life.
What happened? Did someone say something?
Not only like say something, but say it to the team. An example, like you're horrible, you're never going to go anywhere. I would just say, look at you now, I'm up here and you're down here, so it just builds yourself to be better. Cause like I said, it just sticks with you.
Yeah. So those words stick with you. You don't have to say, but can you remember that moment when people were saying that stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. And there are people that don't handle it as well as some other people. And you got to remember, sports are supposed to be fun. Of course, we want to win and compete. And I mean, I'm all for the win. I'm very competitive in all things I do. But when people are saying those things, in most cases, they're probably not out there competing. So I think it's important that you just said that sticks. So watch your words.
Yes.
Got that in to those people. And do you have anything like that as a coach that you've experienced, or maybe even as an athlete, or maybe in gymnastics world?
As an athlete, my senior year, I fractured my shin and I had to wear a boot. And I remember cheering with my boot on, just like everyone else did. But I was new to the school, kind of. And someone from the student section kept screaming, "Go boot girl, go boot girl." And I will never forget that moment because I crumbled inside. I was like, wow, I'm never going to step foot on a sideline again. So I carry that with me because I'm a very big advocate for my cheerleaders, and I will not tolerate people screaming and yelling at them from the sidelines. We don't see it a lot from our own student section. Granted, like when I was in high school, that was my own student section yelling that to me. We don't see that a lot here. We have a very supportive school community, but we will catch some like other teams, students coming over to yell, and I'm very quick to be like, get away from my sidelines, or getting the athletic director, because I remember how I felt in that moment. Obviously I persevered through and came out on the other side, and I'm thankful for those moments because I don't know that I would have been back on the sidelines again if I wasn't able to get myself through that. I definitely make sure that does not happen to my athletes.
I've seen coaches be afraid to say something back. Well, they're going to get mad if I say something. Who cares? They're yelling. If you're a coach listening right now, if someone's yelling something to your athletes, you need to protect them. Who cares if someone in the bleachers gets mad at you and they're going to complain to someone? They're yelling things to a kid, So I feel like not everyone, but there's a lot of people who sit in bleachers and think they can do whatever they want now. And it's getting a little crazy. Good for you for calling the athletic director over or telling someone to shut their mouth if need be. I think that's important. And those people who are saying things, just like Maddy was saying, it sticks. Like, why are people yelling that? It's almost like we're entitled to say whatever we want in some situations from the bleachers. Somebody I interviewed called them the bleacher creatures. And I was like, it's actually not a terrible name for some of these people, but it's kind of crazy when we think about it. Some of it gets really ugly. And it's unnecessary. I'm glad you're sticking up for them. All right, ladies, does anyone want to jump in? Feeling the weight of the daily grind? Our workshops and staff development programs are your backstage pass to success. We're here to arm you and your leadership squad with the tools to ace those goals, tame stress, and foster a winning culture. Forget the boring seminars. Our workshops are all about real connections and real results. Whether it's virtual or in person, we're here to elevate your success. After the show, visit shop.downyournail.com to learn more and set up a free call to chat. We tailor our programs to fit your needs and goals. Let's get back to the show. All right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about a time when something crazy happened that impacted either you or your team in a negative way?
I would say throughout all my years here at the school, the cheer team has a bad reputation, or people say like, oh, like we're not good enough to do anything, or we suck, and people talk bad about the team. But since my freshman year to last year, there's been a huge change in the team from where we've come since my freshman year to last year. And last year we even got the chance to go to Florida for a competition, and people were saying, oh, you guys can't place there. And we ended up even getting second there. So to say to them that, well, we got second in Florida, but some of these people that say stuff, they don't even do anything. So how can you say stuff about my team and our team when you guys are just the same as us?
So what lesson did you learn from that?
That like it doesn't matter what other people think as long as you and your team are together. It doesn't even matter if you win or lose. As long as you guys are a team and a family, then there's no winning or losing.
I feel like we should have a microphone and you should drop it. I mean, okay. I love that. I love that for so many reasons. Does anyone else have any situations, captains, ladies, that go ahead, Grace, I see your hand.
I would say one of the biggest things in cheer is comparison, and not necessarily between teams, but a lot of times it's on your own team. Like people come around and they're talking about how they want to be better than this group and that, you know, your group, like people have said before, like they want my stunt group to hit the ground and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't make sense to me because when you're all on the same team, if my group's succeeding, it doesn't matter. If every other group falls, it doesn't matter that mine succeeded because we're all on the same team, if that makes any sense. Because like there's
that makes
no
a ton of sense.
Like,
what doesn't make sense
for you to talk negatively on me when we're going for the same goal.
Right. What doesn't make sense to me is the fact that they would want someone else to fall on their own team. And why do you think that happens, Grace? And I got to be honest with you. I work with a lot of female teams, and I work with some co-ed groups where I go in and do workshops with different programs that people run, nonprofits and teams where they run leadership, and I'll come in and do a visualization or a workshop about competitiveness. And then sometimes I work with an all boys team. I got to be honest, when I'm with females or girls, young and adults, this happens a lot. And I'm curious what you think, really all of the captains and the coaches. Why do you think that's happening, Grace?
I think sometimes people are insecure. They know that they're not capable of, I don't know, what they want to be capable of. So instead of, you know, working on themselves, they think it's easier to tear other people down. So I feel like that could be it with cheer, but
it could be. It could be. And you said, I know that Madison mentioned a shift. Have you seen a shift in that?
Yeah, definitely.
What have you seen?
I feel like, I don't know what it is, but throughout the years, we've just gotten a lot closer, and I feel like we're all more comfortable around each other. Because like when I was a freshman, I was scared of all the upperclassmen. I don't think I had any of their phone numbers. Like I was scared to talk to them. But now it's like I talk to the freshmen on the team all the time. Like I feel like anyone feels comfortable coming up to the upperclassmen and telling them whatever, or talking about whatever's going on in their life. So I feel like we've just gotten a lot closer.
I love that for you, not only as a cheerleader, but for a skill in life. Because when you go out into the world, you're going to need older women who are strong, and you're going to need to know that you can go to them and that they can come to you. You're really teaching those freshmen that there are older supportive women. You know, it sounds weird to say older supportive women, but people who are a couple steps ahead of you. I'm not saying you have to find some like old woman sitting on a corner or something, but you know, someone who's a couple steps ahead of you, maybe in your career, in motherhood, in life, in relationships. You need these women. And when I'm in these situations, or when I'm hearing you say that, it's literally heartbreaking to me, because I have two sons. I'm married and I love those guys, but it's different. It is different for females. And when you don't have a supportive circle of females, life's harder. Why are we making it harder for each other? I get fired up on this. Why? Anyone else? Why do you think this is happening?
So, Kate, this season, I think we saw a huge change in our program. We tried to make them understand that it didn't really matter what grade they were in, that like if you're on the varsity team, you have varsity level skills. And we use our underclassmen pretty often. Actually, we only have 2 senior flyers on our competition team. We use our underclassmen all the time. And I think that that's where we saw the shift. After our mindset trainings, after all these things, we don't see a lot of that competitiveness within our team, but we see them kind of coming together to get more competitive against like other programs, which is what we're supposed to do.
What all sports should be doing.
So I definitely think I have seen as their coach a big shift this year in that kind of that area of mindset change and things like that.
What did you see with mindset? What did you like that we did together? Or maybe you found something else that maybe the captains, the coaches did. One of the girls, what did you do? Or what did you like that you think worked for you, worked for all of your teammates? Go ahead, Emma.
With the mindset stuff, I think the team really liked the roses that we did. And
tell everybody about the roses, because my listeners don't all know what that is. People love seeing it on my Instagram, like, Kate's giving roses out again. What are you doing? And they don't really get it. So I describe it, but I want you to describe it. What was it for you?
The roses, it was very helpful to like meet more people, not necessarily meet, but to connect with more people that I wouldn't normally connect with.
So what did we do? Can you tell my listeners, because they weren't in the room with us?
We each got a yellow rose. Were they yellow or orange?
They were orange. You're
correct. They were orange.
Okay.
Yeah. That's okay.
We each got a rose, and we had to give it to someone who we don't really talk to on a day-to-day basis and say something nice about them. And then instead of the person receiving it saying thank you, they would say, I received that. So then, yeah.
Right. And then I asked you then to go find someone else, and we continued around a big circle, and we all listened to those things that we saw that were nice or strength, something that they bring to the program. And I love, Emma, how you said you got to connect with people that you might not typically connect with, because let's be honest, sometimes it's a little awkward. You're hanging out with your same crew. I heard multiple times, which is totally normal, that you're cheerleading, you're going to school together all the way up from when you were little preschoolers, kindergartners, or whenever you started to know each other. You're in the same grade, you're with these people all the time. So it makes sense. That's who you're going to talk to. My own kids do the same thing. But when you get out into the world, you're going to have to talk to a lot of different people. So not only did I want you to know each other, because that's going to build that team, and you talked about the family concept there, but when you get out into the world, you're going to have conversations sometimes with people that you don't always connect with. And I didn't even talk about that in that situation, but really that's a skill that I wanted you just to get. And it was uncomfortable at first. I could tell everyone was like, I'm not really sure what we're doing in this circle here, but you did like it. And what did you feel from it? Why did you like it? You felt connected, and anything else?
I felt like I could be more open to different people. And
I love that.
It felt like we were more connected to a team as a whole after that.
Very cool. Did anyone else do anything with the mindset programs that we did together that you thought really landed well with your team?
I just like that it was not just like a one-time thing, and like you like continue to come back and continue to work with us, because I feel like it's been helping a lot, because being on the team for 4 years, you see the progression. And it's like, of course, we're all teenage girls, we're gonna have issues and argue, but at the end of the day, when it comes to the important things, we can all still work together. And I feel like you helped us out like a lot with that.
I love that you just said that. And whenever I talk with a coach or a school, I go in, I do the first workshop. I'm going to be honest, I don't say yes to everyone. Sometimes I'll get on a phone call and I'm like, yeah, this coach doesn't really believe in mindset. I'm not doing it, because the coaches have to believe. When I was in the workshop, Coach Ange and Coach Maddy, they did the activities with us. They didn't walk out and leave. There are coaches that say, well, my kids need this, but you have to buy in also. So one, I go in and we do a first workshop. I never say I have to come in for 5 workshops. That doesn't happen, because one, I'm not sure if I'm going to really like them. I'm just going to be honest with you. That might happen. That's who I am. And they might not like me. That's okay too. You're not going to vibe with everyone. But what you just said, Madison, it's, a spiral effect of learning. And when we do the first thing, I can't give you everything. Your brain would overload. And I work with a team and then I come back, we go on a deeper level, and that makes a really big impact. And like Madison was saying, people, teenagers, teams, you're going to have issues. I don't bring magic beans. I'm not putting dust in the vents and, doing things and changing your whole life. I went to a workshop with this team. And then when I was leaving, I think it might have been maybe Emma's mom. I'm not sure if I'm correct on that. But as I was leaving the first workshop, she said, we're booking you for the next one. I think she literally wouldn't let me leave. And I was laughing to myself. I'm like, is she serious? And I loved them, so I was okay with it. And then when we met again, Coach Maddy and I, it was at a pool party right before their season was starting. Coach Maddy and I were talking, and I think Coach Maddy felt almost a little bad telling me, there's been a little bit of drama. They've been pretty good, but this has been going on. And she was almost like, should I tell Kate about this? And I said, well, thank God you're being honest, because if you told me everything was perfect, I'd be like, liar. You're such a liar, because we're humans. As Madison just said, things are going to happen. It is not perfect every day. So that's why you have to work on these things. And I'm not saying a team has to keep me forever, but if you have a couple workshops or you do a couple things together, it changes your brain. One Sunday morning, Coach Ange sent me a text message, and I know all of you were working. I think you were doing choreography for competition, or maybe it was for the fall season. She sent me a text message, and sometimes my clients do this where they're like, hey, Kate, what's up? And I'm like, hey. But she sent me along, hey, Kate. I'm like, hey, Ange. And they're like, nothing. I was like, what's happening? And it was Sunday morning. I was a hot mess. I think I was making pancakes, which I rarely do. I'm not a good cook. I married a good cook for a reason. So then she texted me like 10 minutes later saying, I'm having a crazy busy day, but the girls need a pep talk, something. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll jump on there and figure this out. I like whipped my hair up. I really was looking scary. I think I even said to them, don't you dare tell people that I look like this, which really, who cares in the end? But I was judging myself. But she knew that her athletes needed something. And Maddy knew to tell me, we've been having a little bit of this, that, and the other thing. Because it serves no one if you say everything's great. Myself as an athlete, I used to say, I'm fine, and I wasn't. And you're not going to fix the culture of your team, the mindset of your athletes. They're not going to leave and become better humans if you pretend everything's good. So Madison P., I know we got both of our Madisons here. Thank you for being honest and sharing that sometimes it takes more than one time. And the coaches, thank you. Because again, it's not a reflection of the coach. If a coach says, we have some drama, we have this going on, the girls are having a rough day. It's called a rough day. It's called life.
So Kate,
yeah, go ahead.
Our choreographer, we fly them in. So he came from Alabama, Mad, is that right? So he flew in from Alabama, and it was rough. Like, it was a rough morning. And even he could see that when the second part of our day started after our little pep talk and mindset was set with you, like the difference in the girls. And Maddy and I were actually just talking the other day about how we need to just bring back allowing them to sit with their eyes closed and really just like get themselves together when we're having rough days, because it's life-changing for them as a team. Especially, it's a dangerous sport. So if they're truthfully not in it, we're risking injury and safety of the girls. And at choreography, we saw it firsthand.
Thank you for sharing that with me. So those who are listening right now, they're probably like, what the hell did you do on that pep talk? But really what I did is I just gave them a little bit of motivation. We talked about what they were doing. And you should know, everyone listening, I am not a cheerleader. I'm going with a swim team, for example, to work with them on Saturday morning. And I wasn't a swimmer. I mean, I could swim in the pool, but I literally could not even do cheerleading at all. Like when my daughter did it as the youth, I had to tell my sister-in-law, like, you got to help this chick. Like, I can't do this. So I talk with the coaches and say, what do you need? You know, what are you working on? What the issues are? And for this situation, Ange texted me what was going on. And then what I did was I created a motivational little pep talk, basically, and we did a guided visualization. Those who have been with me for a workshop, I do that at the end. Sometimes it's 2 minutes. Sometimes it's 20 minutes. I think I had 15 minutes. I probably kept them longer, like 18 or 19 minutes that day. I'm like, oh, no, they got to go. But I was trying to give it to them so they had it all. But what Ange is saying right now, every coach who's listening, or athlete or parent, you can do this for school. You can do this for your jobs, definitely for your sports. It doesn't have to be a full kumbaya, like everyone hold hands and stand around a tree for 3 hours. You literally could close your eyes, do a couple breathing exercises, and you don't even have to know that much about breath work. Breathe in your nose and out through your mouth. Visualize yourself performing well and feel it in your body, but also see yourself dealing with an issue and moving through it and seeing that you are capable. And like that piece is important, and letting each person do that, because what Grace does in her head, what Madison does in her head, what Coach Ange, what each person does in their head is unique. Thank goodness, or else life would be boring. A coach can't say, well, this is what I want everyone to think, because the athletes do want to please you, coaches. And I'm not talking to Coach Ange and Coach Maddy here. I'm talking to my listeners. They do want to please you. So they will try to think that in their brain, especially athletes. And it's not going to work. You have to let them, have their own thoughts. So that's a great idea, Ange. When you are in those situations, just they know how to do it. I mean, I love them and I'll always jump on, but they know how to do it and they can close their eyes and do those things. So I love that plan. And I love that you saw a difference in the afternoon session. Pretty cool. Very cool. All right. So I want to jump around, and real quick, I want you to give each of you, give some advice to a little cheerleader. I want you to think about little you. And maybe it was somebody like Madison was honest, thinking even freshman you, I didn't think I was enough. Or maybe like Emma or Grace, who are kindergartners, preschoolers, and they're just learning the sport. Or maybe a mom is like, I think my daughter wants to do this, give a little pep talk, so to speak, a one-liner, some advice you would give to a little cheerleader.
I would say advice that I would give is don't give up just because you're having a bad week or a bad practice. Keep pushing through.
Love it. You can just jump in, whoever's ready.
I would say to live in the present, because I feel like a lot of times when I was younger, I was like, oh, I can't wait until I'm older, and I can't wait until I can do this. And once I get old enough, I can do this. But I think it's really important to appreciate where you are and to realize that what you have right now isn't going to be what you always have. And it's really important to think about that.
Grace, can we rewind that and play it a little louder for everyone, not just cheerleaders, but for every single person? That's going to be on Instagram, just so you know, because every single person has to pay attention to that. I try to do that, and it's hard because we're moving so fast in life. The rarity of this moment right now, the rarity of senior year, first grade, fifth grade, whatever, your first job, that relationship, you're never going to have that moment again. I loved that. I love it. Be in the present. What a great piece of advice. All right, who's next?
I would say to just not compare yourself to other people, because growing up, especially in a sport like cheerleading, you're always, oh, I want to be like them. I want to do that. I want to do this. So I would just say to not compare yourself to anyone else and do you.
Love it. Hard to do, but great advice. Really great advice. And let me just add on to that, Emma, if you don't mind. Look at how amazing you are too. Stop comparing yourself. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. And look at how amazing you are. Look at all of the things you did. Even if you are that little cheerleader, you're just getting started. Maybe you're middle school, you're a freshman, or if you're a parent coach and you say, hey, listen to this advice of a high school cheerleader who's a senior. She's gone through it already. Look at the things you've done. We don't give ourselves enough credit. Stop comparing, love it, and celebrate. All right, what else we got?
I would just say, just whatever you choose to do, make sure you love it, because even though when I first started out cheer, I'm just going to say it, I wasn't that great, but I just kept doing it and being persistent and just kept trying, and that's really all you have to do. Be great or be good.
Love it. All right. I'm going to go to our last question since we got all the girls, and then I'm going to let you get to practice. If you had the opportunity to swap lives with anyone for 1 week, who are you switching with and why? This can be dead or alive, and it's only 1 week because we love you. Ange, we'll start with you. Who are you switching with?
Oh, I'm choosing my husband.
Okay, and why?
Because being a mom is tough. And being a dad is tough too. But dads definitely have it way easier than we do. And I would love to be in his shoes for a week. A full night's sleep would be great.
I love this choice for you. I love it. Maybe he'll let you do a little swap. I don't know. All right, Coach Maddy, who do you got?
I'm gonna choose a country singer. Her name's Megan Maroney. I
Okay.
listen to her a lot, and she's just so inspiring, and I want to continue to be inspiring for other people.
Love it. All right, we're going to come back up. Emma, who do you have?
I would want to be my dad for a week.
And why?
Just because he's always there for his kids, and I appreciate that.
Love it. All right, Madison.
I would want to be Madeline Klein from Outer Banks, just because she goes through a lot throughout the show, and what she goes through, and she always still keeps going in life, and it shows me that even when people go through things or go through hard things, as long as you keep going and keep trying, everything will be okay.
We have so many quotable things from this episode. I love that choice. Pretty cool. Grace, who do you got?
I would say Simone Biles, because watching her throughout not this past Olympics, but the one before, and her being such an advocate for mental health, I think it's so important that there's more people like that.
I love everything she does with sports and mental health. Great choice. And Madison, who are you picking?
I feel like I'm just gonna go with the basic answer and say Beyonce, because I don't know. She's I don't have anything inspiring. I just like Beyonce. So, yeah.
By the way, I don't think that's basic. I think it would be an epic week for you. I love the answer. You would see a lot of cool things. I think you would really enjoy the week. All right, ladies, I want to thank you so much for coming on The Champion Within. I also just want to say one more time, thank you for letting me love you throughout this season, through your summer, fall season. Coaches, thank you for all that you do for your athletes and those captains that came into the show today. Keep being inspiring, because people are still going to watch you. You really are the face of Sun Valley Cheer, and you are making a difference, and people are going to see it years and years from now. You're going to still be hearing about it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Make sure you go down to the show notes. I'm going to put their Instagram in there. Some of these ladies have some epic things happening in their future, and you're going to want to connect with them. Have an amazing rest of your day, and go crush those goals.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.